everybody. Thank you so much, Jen. So as you heard, I am a policy nerd, and I dare to call myself a technologist because Jen Pahlka told me that I could. Seriously. And my career, 30 years now, has been about solving policy problems that relate to things like inequality, to creating economic opportunity, to address disparities that affect communities of color and communities that are economically disadvantaged. I did this at a civil rights organization for 20 years and then in the Obama White House for 8. I was present at the birth of the U.S. Digital Service, and about a year or so ago, I beamed into this very summit from the Situation Room to share with you some of the stories that completely transformed how I think about implementing policy. One was about how the USDS team changed the trajectory of the college scorecard, which is still going strong, by the way. Yay. And found a way to admit 10,000 additional refugees in a year without spending an additional nickel. And wow, do I wish I could say that refugee admissions were still going strong. But because Jen Pahlka and Todd Park and Anne-Marie Slaughter and Vivian Grobard told me that it was possible to take what I had learned and do something useful with it, I joined New America, where I lead a public interest technology team, which is a proud partner of Code for America in tackling the challenges of our time. And after a year of building and learning, we've made what I think is a pretty important start. So to give you just a few examples, we have a team digging into, as the amazing Marina Martin puts it, how to make sure foster care sucks less. Our fellow Jeremiah Lindeman has built an impressive dynamic map of the opioid epidemic. Our fellow Raf Majma has been supporting an immigrant services organization in doing their work and is about to launch a design process aimed at addressing barriers to naturalization. So part of what we have learned through all of this is that we have to think bigger than we have been thinking. I am a policy nerd, and the policy nerd in me keeps seeing things like the data on boys and men of color literally falling down the ladder of economic opportunity even after their families have reached the middle class. The policy nerd in me keeps seeing the data on black women and birth outcomes, where the disparity between outcomes for black and white women is worse than it was 15 years before the end of slavery. The policy nerd in me keeps seeing the challenges of the upcoming census, which is not just the subject of terrible policy decisions like asking people to reveal their citizenship status, but it's going to be conducted digitally for the first time, whether or not we are ready. The policy nerd in me keeps thinking about voting rights, where we see strides in voting technology, but we're not yet applying what we know to protecting voting rights. So this has led me to conclude that we need to be doing all of it, and not we, New America, but we, New America, Code for America, us, a field, a movement that works together to tackle the enormous challenges of our time. It's not just that technology needs to be applied to solving our problems. Technologists need to be directed at solving our public problems. We need technologists in government at every level to implement good policy. We need you outside of government, at the groups that we count on to identify disparities when they happen and to address them. We need technologists in policymaking. You've heard this multiple times today, and it's true, not just because we want to aim at implementation, but because we need to make policy with the user in mind in the first place. So how do we do that? Many of you are already doing that. And we have learned that you want to be connected to each other, that we are a field that struggles with naming ourselves, and too many of us feel like purple squirrels that have not yet found others of our kind. My colleagues, Hannah Schenk and Sarah Hudson, did some research among us. They talked to a number of you. They're going to do a session this afternoon to discuss what they found in their research and what we are doing about it. Spoiler alert, one of the things they've done about it is launched something called wearecommons.us, which is an awesomely good start at telling our stories and helping us connect to each other. But we've also learned that we have to be deliberate about building a field. We have to be deliberate about exposing policymakers to what's possible, the way I was exposed to what's possible when I was in government. So for example, at New America, we recently held a forum with people who are working on the Farm Bill, applying design thinking to the policy challenges in that debate, and some of those ideas are finding their way into legislation. We need to be deliberate about connecting policymakers to data, not just economic data, but data to assess opportunity, to course correct, to demand accountability, and to put citizens and their needs at the center of policy design. We're starting to learn so much more about what inequality looks like, but we're not applying the same tools to fixing it, and we need to start. We need to be deliberate about connecting advocates to design. People in the civil rights movement, like at the organizations like the ones I used to work at, should be thinking, how does this big idea that I care about get delivered? How are we going to protect voting rights in the future? How are we going to solve disparities in maternal health outcomes? How are we going to get foster kids the supports that they need? We need to be deliberate in influencing the pipeline. Where are we growing our policymakers? Where are we growing our engineers and our product developers? Let's ensure that it's possible to go to college or to some other training and develop the skills to manage, to design, to understand, and to implement. I want to see a day when people are growing up and want to go to computer science programs because they want to fix homelessness. So here's what I know. Corporations and industry are leveraging the best technological talent in the world to do whatever it is they're going to do. My team at New America, and I believe the team at Code for America, together are dreaming of a world where we are leveraging some fraction of that talent to address economic inequality, to fix disparities in maternal health outcomes, to protect voting rights, to address the biggest problems that assail us. We haven't fully figured out how to get there, but if I know one thing, I know that we have to get there, and we have to be trying to get there together. So if this policy nerd can think of herself as a technologist, there's no reason that the people in this room can't see themselves as policymakers. That's what you look like to me. So let's put people at the center of policymaking, and let's do it together. Thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.